Words are powerful. They can build bridges, tear them down, create empires, or destroy them. Yet the wisest among us, those who truly master themselves, understand that some things are better left unsaid. In a world that constantly demands more words, more opinions, and more reactions, the intelligent person stands apart, choosing silence over the noise. They've learned that their true strength lies not in what they say, but in what they don't. Today, we'll explore the timeless wisdom of Stoic philosophers like Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, and Seneca, who have taught us that the path to inner mastery is often paved with restraint. These figures didn't just speak to the world, they spoke to themselves, to their own minds, quietly shaping their thoughts and emotions. This journey will reveal 6 things an intelligent person never says, because they've learned that saying less is the key to saying more, to living with fortitude, unshaken by the chaos around us. If you seek true strength, if you long to control your emotions and rise above the daily noise, join us now. This is the philosophy that will transform you. Number 1. I can't control this. The first phrase that an intelligent person never utters is, I can't control this. This phrase is an expression of surrender, a declaration of powerlessness. In truth, this statement is a betrayal of the very essence of human strength, the ability to choose. In the face of life's trials, it's easy to fall into the trap of believing we are victims of circumstance, subject to forces beyond our control. But the Stoics, those ancient masters of self-discipline, teach us a profound truth. We always have control over how we respond to events, even if we cannot control the events themselves. Epictetus, one of the foremost Stoic philosophers, tells us, we cannot choose our external circumstances, but we can always choose how we react to them. In other words, the only true power we possess lies within us, the power of our thoughts and our actions. To claim that we cannot control something is to abandon this power. It is to relinquish our autonomy and give up our greatest gift, the ability to shape our own responses. By doing so, we allow our emotions, anger, frustration, fear, regret, to control us, rather than taking command of our own minds. In moments of difficulty, it's all too easy to fall into despair and say, I can't control this. Whether it's a challenging situation at work, a confrontation with a loved one, or an unforeseen tragedy, the world may seem out of our hands. But what we fail to see is that we always have the power to decide how we will face these challenges. The Stoics understood this deeply. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, reminded himself constantly that while external events were beyond his control, his mind, his character, and his responses were his alone to command. The Stoic response to life's hardships is not one of complaint or helplessness. Instead, it is the recognition that adversity is a part of the human experience, and how we face it is a testament to our strength. Intelligence is not found in avoiding challenges, but in mastering the mind in the midst of them. When we choose to view obstacles as opportunities for growth, when we take control of our emotions instead of letting them control us, we begin to live with true fortitude. To say, I can't control this, is to forget the power we possess. The intelligent person embraces their ability to choose, to remain calm, focused, and resolute no matter what life throws their way. This is the essence of Stoicism and the path to true inner strength. When we control our reactions, we control our destiny. Number 2, I deserve this. The second phrase that an intelligent person never speaks is, I deserve this. While it might seem like an innocent claim to self-affirmation, this seemingly harmless statement carries with it the seed of entitlement, and in the Stoic worldview, it is a dangerous trap. To say, I deserve this, is to step into the dangerous territory of expecting the world to owe you something. This expectation, as the Stoics have taught us, is not only misguided, it is the root of suffering. Seneca, one of the greatest Stoic philosophers, warns us against this kind of mentality in his Letters from a Stoic. We suffer more in imagination than in reality. When we convince ourselves that we deserve something, whether it's success, love, or recognition, we tether our happiness to an external force, something that is inherently out of our control. This illusion of deserving something blinds us to the truth. Life does not operate on a meritocracy that simply rewards us for our personal desires. We are not entitled to anything beyond what we earn through our actions, virtue, and discipline. To cling to the belief that we deserve something is to invite disappointment and frustration. When we believe we deserve a certain outcome, we are subconsciously preparing ourselves for resentment when reality does not meet our expectations. If we work hard but are not rewarded as we think we should be, the result is bitterness. If we invest in relationships but do not receive the attention or affection we believe we are owed, we feel abandoned or unappreciated. The Stoics understood that this constant desire for what we deserve only chains us to our emotions. True intelligence lies in understanding that nothing is owed to us by the universe, and that we should not measure our worth based on what we think we are entitled to. Instead, we focus on what we can do to shape our own future, not by expecting the world to provide us with what we deserve, but by doing the work to earn what we want. This is not just a matter of hard work. It's about developing a mindset of self-reliance, of taking control of what we can, and of cultivating virtues that allow us to create our own path. The intelligent person understands that life is not about what we deserve, but what we earn through our daily actions and our commitment to improvement. They do not sit idly by, waiting for the world to give them what they think is rightfully theirs. Instead, they take active responsibility for their growth. They ask not, "What do I deserve?" but rather, "What am I doing to earn the life I want?" They focus on progress, not on entitlement. This shift in thinking leads to freedom. When we stop believing that the world owes us something, we remove the chains of frustration and resentment. We shift our focus to the only thing we can truly control: our own efforts, our own progress, and our own virtue. This is the Stoic way, the understanding that we create our own value, and it is through self-discipline, hard work, and the pursuit of excellence that we find fulfillment. Rather than expecting life to deliver what we deserve, the intelligent person works to become someone worthy of success, not because they are entitled to it, but because they earn it through their choices, actions, and perseverance. In this way, we free ourselves from the unnecessary weight of entitlement, and we take the reins of our own lives with confidence. Number 3. It's not fair. The third phrase that an intelligent person never says is, "It's not fair." How often do we find ourselves echoing this sentiment when life doesn't go according to plan? It's a cry born of frustration, of the perception that the world owes us fairness. But to the Stoics, fairness is a concept rooted in illusion, a distraction that takes us away from the reality of life. Life is not fair. It is not designed to be just in the way we want it to be. To expect fairness from a world that is unpredictable and indifferent is to set ourselves up for constant disappointment. Epictetus reminds us that it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. This is the core of Stoic thought. Our peace of mind does not come from expecting the world to treat us fairly. It comes from accepting that life is filled with challenges, inequalities, and random events. Instead of complaining about the unfairness of the world, we must take ownership of our own actions, responses, and choices. When we say it's not fair, we focus on the things we cannot control, instead of embracing what we can change, our own responses to life's adversities. The intelligent person understands that fairness is not something we should expect from life, but something we create through our own actions. True wisdom is found in recognizing that we cannot demand fairness from the world, but we can be fair to ourselves and others. We are responsible for how we treat those around us, and we are responsible for how we respond to the unfairness we encounter. When life hands us adversity, it is not the world that has wronged us, it is simply the nature of existence, unpredictable and indifferent. The Stoic does not waste energy lamenting about what is out of their control, but instead turns inward and cultivates strength, resilience, and wisdom. The intelligent person does not waste time complaining about what is unfair. They take action. They rise above the notion of fairness and choose to act according to virtue, regardless of the circumstances. When we are focused on fairness, we forget about our own responsibility in shaping the life we want to live. We cannot control the actions of others, nor can we control the hand that life deals us, but we can control how we respond, how we choose to rise above the inequities we encounter. By focusing on what we can control, our thoughts, our actions, and our behavior, we free ourselves from the burden of injustice. The Stoic path does not lie in cursing the unfairness of life, but in taking the unfairness in stride, using it as fuel to grow stronger and more virtuous. Life is not fair, but we can still be just. Number 4. I can't do this. The fourth phrase that an intelligent person never says is, I can't do this. This phrase is a surrender, a quiet admission that we believe ourselves to be incapable of overcoming the challenges before us. When we say, I can't do this, we impose limitations on our own potential, chaining ourselves to the belief that we are powerless. But the Stoics understood something profound. Our limitations are not defined by the world around us, but by the beliefs we hold in our own minds. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, urges us to remember that we are capable of far more than we often believe. In moments of self-doubt, he writes, we should remind ourselves that we have the power to overcome any obstacle, not because we are invincible, but because we can control how we approach our challenges. The Stoic belief in self-mastery teaches us that we can always choose how we respond to adversity. The question is not whether we can do something, but whether we are willing to try, to persist, to endure. The truth is, we are all capable of more than we think. When we say, I can't do this, we are closing the door on our own growth and potential. Instead of seeing the task as an opportunity for personal development, we see it as an insurmountable barrier. But the intelligent person understands that this is a lie. Every challenge is a chance to test our fortitude, to build our character, and to grow stronger. Epictetus teaches us that the only thing truly within our control is our own thoughts and actions. Our power lies not in avoiding hardship, but in our ability to face it with courage and resilience. The Stoic does not shy away from challenges, but embraces them. When faced with difficulty, they do not say, I can't do this, but instead ask themselves, what can I learn from this? How can I grow from this? What action can I take to move forward? In saying, I can't do this, we give up before even attempting to fight. But the Stoic mindset is one of perseverance. We do not define ourselves by our failures or by what we think is impossible. Instead, we define ourselves by our actions, by our resilience, and by our unwavering commitment to growth. When we face challenges with the belief that we can overcome them, we open the door to endless possibilities. The intelligent person knows that the true strength lies not in avoiding difficulties, but in confronting them head-on. Number 5. I'm just not good enough. The fifth phrase that an intelligent person never speaks is, I'm just not good enough. This is a statement of self-defeat, an acceptance of mediocrity, and a belief that we are inherently unworthy of success, happiness, or greatness. When we utter this phrase, we allow self-doubt to consume us, chaining us to the idea that we are incapable of improvement or achievement. But the Stoic philosophy stands in stark contrast to such thinking. Stoicism teaches us that our worth is not based on our innate qualities or our past failures, but on our ability to continually strive toward virtue and self-improvement. In Meditations, Marcus Aurelius reminds us that it is not our circumstances that define us, but the choices we make in response to them. True intelligence is understanding that we are not born with predetermined limits. We are shaped by our actions, our mindset, and our ability to learn. To say I'm not good enough is to disregard the power of perseverance, the ability to transform oneself through deliberate effort. The Stoic is not concerned with being good enough by any external standard. They focus on becoming better every single day. Epictetus teaches that it is not the judgment of others that matters, but our own judgment of ourselves. The Stoic does not measure their worth by comparisons to others, but by their own progress. When we say I'm not good enough, we buy into the lie that our past mistakes or our current shortcomings define who we are. But the Stoic understands that we are always works in progress. The path to wisdom, to virtue, and to self-mastery is not about perfection, it's about progress. It is the continuous effort to align our actions with our values, to learn from our mistakes, and to grow stronger through adversity. The intelligent person never lets self-doubt define them. They do not say, I'm not good enough. Instead, they say, I will continue to work, to grow, to improve, because I know that through persistence and discipline, I will become the person I aspire to be. This mindset is the essence of Stoic resilience. We are never finished or good enough in the eyes of others. We are always in the process of becoming, And it is in this process that we find our true worth. The intelligent person understands that self-doubt is the enemy of progress. It is the voice that tells us to stop trying, to give up before we even begin. But the Stoic rejects that voice. They choose instead to act with courage, to face their weaknesses head-on, and to recognize that self-worth is earned through the effort we put into becoming better, not by an arbitrary standard of enoughness. Number 6. I can't control that. The sixth and final phrase that an intelligent person never says is, I can't control that. While it might seem like a reasonable acknowledgement of our limitations, this phrase is a slippery slope into complacency and helplessness. It's a declaration that we have surrendered to external circumstances, relinquishing our agency. The Stoics, however, understood that we may not control everything in the world, but we always control how we respond to what happens. This mindset is at the heart of Stoic philosophy. The power of our response lies within us, and that is where our true control resides. In Meditations, Marcus Aurelius reminds himself repeatedly, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. This wisdom is central to the Stoic worldview. The intelligent person never says, I can't control that, because they recognize that while they cannot control the actions of others, or the natural events of the world, they control how they interpret and respond to these events. When we say we can't control something, we are denying the power we have over our own minds and actions. We give up our agency, surrendering to the whims of external forces. The Stoic teaches that the only things truly within our control are our own thoughts, beliefs, and actions. When faced with adversity or uncertainty, the intelligent person never relinquishes their power. They do not see external events as an excuse for passivity. Instead, they ask themselves, what can I control here? What action can I take to improve my situation or my response? This active engagement with life, this insistence on taking responsibility for our reactions, creates a sense of empowerment. The Stoic understands that our thoughts shape our reality. If we continuously tell ourselves that we have no control, we fall into a victim mentality, leaving ourselves at the mercy of the world around us. But when we take ownership of our responses, we reclaim our power. The intelligent person does not give in to the belief that things are beyond their control. They face each challenge with the mindset that their thoughts, their emotions, and their actions are all within their grasp. This does not mean that the Stoic ignores the reality of external circumstances or pretends that life is always within their control. Rather, it means they embrace the Stoic principle of amor fati, the love of fate. We accept life as it comes, but we do not let life control us. We choose to act in accordance with our values, regardless of what the world may throw at us. By refusing to say, I can't control that, we take ownership of our lives. We do not let external events define us. We do not let our circumstances dictate our worth or our actions. Instead, we recognize that we are the masters of our responses, and in this, we find true power. In the pursuit of wisdom, we must let go of the phrases that limit us, that hold us back from realizing our full potential. The intelligent person does not speak of what they deserve or what is unfair or their own inadequacies. They embrace the Stoic path, an unrelenting pursuit of virtue, self-discipline, and strength in the face of adversity. They understand that life is not about what happens to us, but about how we choose to respond. In every challenge, the Stoic finds an opportunity to grow stronger, to become better, to live with purpose. They know that true intelligence is not measured by external success or recognition, but by the mastery of their own mind, their own actions, and their own emotions. As we strive to follow the Stoic path, let us remember that the true measure of a person is not in what they say, but in how they live, how they rise above their limitations, and how they control the one thing they truly can, their response to life. What are your views on this? Share your thoughts in the comments below. I will personally read all of your comments. And if you seriously want to level up in life, don't forget to show some love by hitting the like and subscribe button. Stay strong. Until next time.